What is up, guys? This week on the podcast is to Just Us Boys. I regale you with the review of Stay Out. Mendachi tells us about vampire survivors, and we've got some news about the Steam discount policy. All of that and more in this week's episode of the podcast. Roll the intro.
Bing bong.
Not perfect, but pretty close. Pretty close. Hello,
I'll never let it die out.
Hello and welcome to Next to Nothing, a podcast for gamers on a budget. I am your host, Danny K. With me, as always, the wonderful, the beautiful, the Mr. Green Elite. Green, how are you doing today, baby boo?
I'm doing good. The only issue I ran into this week is I got a nice little piece of paper in the mail saying I have been summoned for jury duty.
Ooh,
and gross. And it happens to be like a week before I'm supposed to be going on vacation to Phoenix. So yeah. I'm not like overly excited about it. I'm hoping like something happens, like they plead guilty or they just don't select me at jury selection. Yeah.
Well, and this is your first time for jury duty, right?
Yeah, I've never done jury duty. And then I also got an email saying that Allstate, the company that provides the Square Trade policy for my SteelSeries headset that broke a few weeks ago, they're sending me a check to replace my headset. Yeah, that's a big news too. So guys, if you're at the store and you're buying something fancy, and they offer you an ADH plan, which is an accidental damage by handling plan, pick it up. Do it. Saved my ass this time.
But hey, you just need one example, right? We're also joined by only one. We're also joined by the spooky and the ukuli, the Mendachi. Mendachi, how are you doing?
Man, we're spooky today, dude. We're killing vampires. We're hanging out with corpses. We're being a pile of bones, just piloting a flesh suit mech through this nightmarish hellscape of 2022, and we are thriving.
Damn. You came and hit me like a fucking wrecking ball, dude. Guys,
I'll wear the hot shorts for you, Danny.
Yes. Hell yes. Guys, thank you for watching and listening to the show. If you miss any part of the show, you can find us on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and everywhere podcasts are found. If you guys want to join us live, you can find us live on Twitch every Tuesday at 7 p.m. Central Time. If you guys want to be a part of the show, we do have a question of the week this week in anticipation for, it was released today, but we're talking about it next week. Destiny 2's The Witch Queen. Go on ahead and tell us, what is your preferred Destiny 2 class? What is your preferred Destiny 2 class? So if you guys are Destiny fans, if you guys are really enjoying the Witch Queen, go on ahead and let us know what your preferred Destiny 2 class is. And you guys can let us know next week how you guys feel about the Witch Queen expansion when we review it next week. So get all that gameplay ready. And you know what? I'm actually even going to say this. If you guys have any great moments from the expansion, from you playing the expansion, go on ahead and share it with us too.
Especially me, because I love it. It's so good.
Yeah.
Spoilers. It's great.
Yeah. So you guys can share that on Twitch, or not Twitch, on Twitter and on Facebook. Green Elite, hit him with the socials.
That is Next to Nothing PC on Twitter, and then Next to Nothing the podcast on Facebook.
Yeah. So,
and soon to be OnlyFans.
So yeah, go on ahead and let us know. We would love to hear more about that and really like celebrate it with you guys next week when it is out, or when you guys have had some. It's out today. I don't know why I keep saying that, but when you guys have had some time to play it.
Yeah.
Otherwise, was there anything else that we needed to get out of the way? Oh.
Did we get a game to give away? Did we do a thing?
No.
We didn't do it this week.
We unfortunately did not make it, but you know what? I'm going to give you guys again, we're going to give you guys another choice or another chance, but I'm going to lower the requirements this time around. If you guys get 50 views on this YouTube video before the next show, then we're going to give away a game.
There we go. Hey, Green, are you still up for playing Phasmophobia with us if we hit that metric?
Yeah, we'll do Phasmophobia if we hit that metric.
Yeah.
I will ensue violence upon myself with Phasmophobia. I wouldn't say violence, more just like unequivocal, bone-shattering fear.
Yeah.
Because I'm a baby.
Good.
All right. Are you guys ready to get into our first review?
Yeah.
All right. So I'm going to be reviewing Stay Out. Oh, man.
That's never good when a review starts with, oh, man.
Oh, boy.
So
Where do I go from here?
Yeah, I've been sitting on this game for roughly a month. Okay, and I've been debating on if I was actually ever going to review it because it just was not an interesting at all experience. And it had some pretty awful just kind of gameplay. So let me get into it, I suppose. Stay Out is a third-person survival MMORPG by Mobile Technologies LLC. The game is heavily influenced and inspired by the Stalker franchise, so I was really curious to actually check it out when it came across my recommended feed on Steam. And I'm going to be very, very, very honest. This game is fucking awful. I don't think I have said that about a game in a very long time.
Yikes.
Because when games are... I can try to find some redeeming qualities in games, but I'm going to be honest. This game, its redeeming quality is that it works. I personally did not come across any game-breaking bugs or glitches. As far as I'm aware, it did not install bullshit on my computer and was otherwise fine operationally. Green has a sour look on his face, and I'm curious why.
No, continue. Sorry.
Okay. Right, so the game is put together. The game runs. The game has an executable. There are a lot of elements here of game design that just is not great, right? It bills itself as an MMORPG. It does have skill trees, but quite honestly, the amount of time I spent playing it, it did not give a lot of... there wasn't a lot of growth in that first little while. The tutorial level was very boring. Let me get back to my notes before I start rambling. Like I said, the game is incredibly boring. It has meandering quests that left me very, very bored and unentertained in the tutorial level, right? The critical point, right, of any MMORPG for new players is that tutorial. That's where you're going to learn how the game works. That's how it's going to hook you in with shit, right? It's going to hook you in with different plot points. It's going to hook you in with different mechanics. This game did none of that. This game does very little in the way of actual entertainment in the early hours of the game. You find yourself wandering around a map, opening and closing a map, or like a opening and closing a paper map with very little like indicators or anything like that. So it's like trying to take this hardcore approach to survival and navigation, in relying on you to be able to fight through some of the very poor translations. The game, as a survival MMORPG, I would expect looting. Like, I would expect to be looting constantly all the time. You really don't do that. You find things. You certainly do find things around, the map. But I, in a game like this, would expect to be fully encumbered with trash early on, and then learning what it's used for. That really doesn't happen. instead you pick up a few flowers and herbs and you trade them for bullets. Yay.
Yay.
Combat is incredibly uninspired, and really it makes no sense when you think about it, because it's trying to be this hardcore survival game. And the first gun you get is a Nagant revolver shooting, 7.62 ammo. I think that's
Okay.
I think that's what it is. And then you wonder how many bullets it takes to kill a medium-sized dog, because it's usually about 3 in the game. So you have a
Wow.
game that is trying to take this hardcore survival. You have to eat, you have to drink, you have to stay warm and dry, and but then all of a sudden it takes you out of that immersion by creating bullet sponge enemies. The game graphically is nothing to write home about, which I'm not going to necessarily complain about, because the maps are fucking huge, and so rendering highly detailed models for trees and mountains and grass is not necessarily a bad thing. But again, just nothing to be inspired or awestruck by. The audio design leaves a lot to be desired. It's pretty, it sounds like a lot of stock stuff and not very interesting. But I'll be honest, all of that can be kind of forgiven if not for the fact that the worst thing I noticed was that this game had portions of a mandatory quest line untranslated from either Russian or Ukrainian into English, basically making it impossible for me as an English speaker to complete it in whatever path that was. I had to find a different way to complete it. And it was like, I selected a text option when talking to an NPC, and then it just suddenly went into Ukrainian or Russian with Ukrainian and Russian options. Which in a project like this should never happen, especially in the tutorial level. So yeah, if I made this game sound interesting at all, or at all fun, here's what you're going to require to run it. Operating system, Windows 7 or 8, 64-bit, a processor of Intel Core i5 or an AMD Ryzen 5 or better. You're going to need 8,000 megabits of RAM. Graphics card, they are saying you're going to need a GeForce 1050 Ti, an AMD RX 570 with 3 gigs of RAM. They're looking for DirectX version 9 or better. You're going to need a broadband connection, because it is, of course, an online only game. And storage, you're going to need 700 megabytes of available space. That is it's not going to be super demanding. I don't really think this is something you should check out. Usually I say, if it's free, it's only going to cost you your time. But honestly, to me, I felt like I wasted my time with this game. Let me double check and see how many hours I put into it. Let's see. Stay out. 3 hours. I put 3 hours into the game. And it did nothing in those 3 hours to make me want to keep playing. But if you're itching for something that's stalker-esque and want to try something that's free, then you can check out Stay Out. I don't recommend it. And I'll be honest, I think this is the first really bad review in probably like 6 months.
Nice.
Yeah.
Can you request a refund for your time on a free-to-play game?
I don't think that's possible, unless they are time wizards.
I mean, it could be. You don't know.
True,
Yeah,
I did.
Like I would feel bad. Like if I played a free-to-play game and like it was like a complete waste of your time. Like you had no fun with it. It didn't look like it was fun from like the video clips that I've seen of it. Reviews like online, like usually you're like, oh, I should probably try it out for myself because not everyone has the same taste.
Yeah.
Well,
Well, it's funny you mentioned that because I feel like we can mention that you guys were reading some of the Steam reviews uh,
Yes.
before we went live. Mendachi, do you want to read one or two of those?
Yeah, sure. One is just a giant butt. Um, here's my favorite one. This person has done 75 reviews, and they had 70 hours on record, which is a lot.
Hmm.
They did not recommend it, and they said, as of January 25th, this game changed my life. Before Stay Out, I had a small penis. Now I have a small penis and wasted time. 0 out of 10. 131 people found this review helpful. Yeah. It's oh yeah, all the positive reviews on this game are bought, so please stay out of it. I would also like to add a couple funny bits about not just this game, but also everything surrounding it because I've found myself in a rabbit hole the whole time that you've been reviewing this. I've been trying to find information on the game and the developer. Mobile Technologies LLC is supposed to have a what they say on their Steam page a tweeter. I cannot find anything for them. I can't even find a hashtag for Stay Out. Stay Out is still in early access. They hope to get out of early access during the winter of this year. Currently, in the last 24 hours, they had 524 people play, and previously, before they actually opened this up to the public, it was supposed to be, obviously, this is Stalker inspired. It was previously called Stalker Online and then changed its name to Stay Out in order to, try and skirt around the infringement issues there. So also something else that I kind of wanted to kind of dabble on here is other than not being able to find out anything at all about Mobile Technologies LLC, um, it's really weird because they also say like all of their announcements and stuff like that are always like, hello, stalkers, like referring to everyone as, stalkers like in the stalker games. So they're really trying to like ride on that. And it's bad. It's sketchy as fuck. Um, yeah, I don't know about this, guys. I don't know about any of this. Yikers.
It sounds like a cease and desist letter uh, sent out way too late.
Right, yeah. I mean, let's see here. We're now third year. Well, it released at the tail end of 2019, um, which they put out a Christmas um, like holiday event where you could play as a giant gingerbread man, and the gingerbread man literally looks like it is a lifted asset from the Shrek movie, and so you play as a giant gingerbread man. Um, or at least you did 3 years ago when this game actually hit the market. Uh, let's see here. Approximately how long will this game be in early access? From 6 months to a year. And then further down, you see, yeah, this is going to be a release of winter of 2022. So, yeah. Interesting.
Yeah. I-
Interesting.
If you're looking, now this is going to be a bit of a throwback for folks, but if you're looking for a survival MMORPG that's free, I'm
Mhm.
going to direct people to Dead Frontier.
Okay.
That is, were you guys around when I reviewed that years and years ago?
I
Mm-mm.
was here, man.
Yeah,
I remember.
I remember. So yeah, that's my recommendation. If you guys want a survival MMORPG, check out Dead Frontier. Is that great? No, not really. I
Didn't
I
look
have
very fun.
I have nostalgia for the first one, because I played what was essentially just that Flash game, uh, for hours and hours and hours. Um, but yeah, no, I can't recommend this game. I really can't.
And it looks like most people can't either, so that's fun.
Yeah. But Mendachi, it sounds like you have something that you would like to recommend.
Yeah, actually, I won't have very many bad things to talk about with my game, so that's exciting. Let's talk about little indie game dev Punkle. And it's kind of funny if you check out their Twitter page as well as their LinkedIn. It just says, "Hi, I accidentally made Vampire Survivors," which has been blowing the hell up, and it's showing up on just about every other, game journal. And right on the top of my review, I'd really like to thank Mr. Green for introducing me to this game when you tweeted it at me back in January. Yeah, it was so great, and it's literally only $3. It's been such an amazing time so far. As I said before, Vampire Survivors was developed and partially published by that very same small game dev company named Ponkel, which is based out of, from what I can tell, the United Kingdom. When I say very small, I mean one nice human named Luca. Ponkel has made several games, but it seems that this particular title has exploded since its December release. Vampire Survivors is currently available on Steam and itch.io for a back-breaking $3. And I'm going to tell you why you should buy it. I'm saying right now that you should absolutely buy this game and that I have almost no qualms with this title. It is, in the simplest terms, a very video game. It doesn't try to be something else. It doesn't have to be. In some ways, it's the perfect video game. The bones of this are simple and really easy to pick up. You choose a hero, you pick a map, and you try not to be killed while you start killing. The view is a top-down isometric style, much like I made a game with zombies in it from the age of Xbox 360 Arcade to age myself a little bit, or somewhat similar to shmup-style games like Darius or Raiden. Some have taken to calling this a reverse shmup, or a time survival game with minimalistic gameplay and roguelite elements if you want to be fancy. But it's so much more than that. It's a fight against entropy, an overall test of futility. You will die, that's true, but first, you must survive. Vampire Survivors makes this Sisyphean task remarkably fun in an incredibly flashy and minimalistic way. Instead of trying to traverse through a bullet hell, you're trying not to get hit by enemies that try to attack you from all sides. The game doesn't have much in the way of projectiles from enemies and favors to go for random spawns of waves of flying enemies or surrounding you with a fast-moving mob to force you to start thinking quickly, or setting off exploding ghosts. This adds a layer of stress, tension, and if you have a solid build, massive gratification. Instead, you are the obstacle. You are the wall of bullets and pain. The endless waves of enemies attacking you with absolute reckless abandon are devoid of self-preservation. But it doesn't matter to them. They are part of a much larger and unstoppable force. The pressure you will succumb to dives at you from all angles and without relent. In time, they will outtime your incredible strikes and firepower. Whether you're whittled away by the drowning mob or crushed under the heel of one of the game's many elite enemies, the bell will toll for you. Vampire Survivors hates you, and it wants you to die. And die you will. Dying and trying new characters and testing your luck with the system's roguelite RNG-based drop system will remind some players of Risk of Rain and others of Binding of Isaac. Others, something so much older and far more familiar than just one or two titles. The aesthetic is obviously very Castlevania, down to the many items that you can add to your arsenal, and even the look of some of the playable characters and enemies. You may even remember the anguish you felt playing Castlevania, accidentally wasting your holy water or not finding an axe for what seems like hours. This title says, why force you into a corner by giving you two choices when we could give you 3 or 4 and let you do that yourself? I'm more of a fan of this system as you get to choose what items you'd like to select from a grouping of 3 or 4, which allow you to have a potentially more cohesive build. And I'm not sure if there's really a meta to this game, but what I can tell you is that the heavily varied weapons, buffs, and item leveling system has made for an incredibly fun playthrough just about every single time. I did say just about, because it still relies heavily on RNG, with an emphasis on offering you boosts or levels to items you've already selected. You can make a terrible run with your first choice. I highly recommend trying out all the items when you get a chance before settling on a grouping you think is your go-to. For instance, I used to always skip out on the items Santa Water or Holy Water, but if you get this to level 7, and then you also select the item, the Attract Orb, which allows you to pick up items from further away, then it actually changes that Santa Water into something called Borrow Water or Barrow Water, which creates these pools of holy water that now move across the map centering towards you, so enemies have to walk through them. So if you get lucky opening up some chests, you can get very strong very fast. It fundamentally changes everything and makes it easy to wreck shop sometimes. I won't tell you in what way it does so to allow the element of surprise to breathe. In a way, that's where this title really shines, unlocking new characters, new weapons, and then experimenting and coming to the realization of what and who combo well together. I'm sure there's still tons of stuff I have yet to find or unlock as well. Much of the wonder and joy from this game comes from trying a vast number of the items, weapons, and utility equipment and leveling it differently every time you go into a new run. You end up unlocking all of these things and boons as you level, and these items that will then start to actually show up in subsequent runs. So I can't stress it enough. Be creative, try a lot of different things, pay attention to what you've neglected to level up in the previous runs. Now, at the time of originally writing my review, my longest surviving run was 29 minutes and 15 seconds, but I'm really happy to say that last week I actually survived for half an hour, and then the Grim Reaper showed up, and things got a little hairy. If that wasn't enough for you, you also have a ton of unlocks that are persistent to each run that you attempt. While you're out there surviving, you're also earning coins. If you survive long enough, you'll have the option to choose to receive coins or food to help you survive longer instead of other rewards while you level up. You otherwise find them by breaking parts of the environment, killing some of the enemies, or just happening upon them in varying amounts. While at the main menu, you can use your coins in a number of ways, such as unlocking one of the many characters, of which I currently have 9, I believe, that all come with their own unique weapon and playstyle starting out. Or you could buy ranks and permanent buffs in the power-up section. In that, you can attempt to prolong the inevitable doom that awaits us all by increasing your might, defense, HP recovery, movement speed, luck, or hell, a myriad of other helpful stats. These power-ups then persist through every run you go on going forward and are indispensable in their worth. I'd also like to add that if the power-ups that you had chosen didn't really work out for you, or perhaps you spent all your points on trying to get more coins and now you have a ton of level ups and you don't really have a need for more coins, well, then you can just go ahead and, for free, just take all of your coins that you've already spent back and redo all of your permanent buffs. And you can do that any number of times, it seems. As far as the downsides to this game, like I said before, there are not many. Sometimes you'll find that the hitboxes of some enemies are iffy when using some smaller weapons like the throwing knife, but when you get to throw 4 or even 6 or 12 consistently every half second, that becomes negligible. Rarely and usually a mistake of your own design, you get caught on the side of a piece of environment. I've also encountered a strange bug where after selecting a reward at level up, my character doesn't immediately want to move laterally. Whether it's just not reading my input command when I strike the key, or it actually is suffering from a slight hiccup, I'm not 100% sure. There will come a time when the only thing I'll be able to do as a player is earn enough coins to max out all my power-up stats and attempt for longer runs, but I don't think it'll lose its charm when that time comes. For now, I'm just filled with curious excitement at trying to level up all the items and weapons and trying different builds with different characters. As I close up this review, I have no reason not to recommend anyone play this game, unless you're just really not into the aesthetic and the gameplay rotation that it offers. So much of this game's joy and worth for me comes from being an ignorant explorer. If you do decide to pick this up, I urge you to experience it for yourself and not look into how to unlock new items or characters, at least right away. At just $3 and no microtransactions and being 100% upfront about everything it aims to offer you, I would recommend this to anyone looking for a new game experience that, while simple in its scope and premise, will test your mettle and keep you coming back for more. Any questions, friends?
No.
No.
I think you hit everything I would ever ask.
Honestly, it gives off like almost like a Terraria vibe to me.
Yeah.
Especially with the combat, because like I've seen people play Terraria and I've watched you play Vampire Survivor. And it, to me, like moving along like almost like a top-down view, like a 3/4 the way top-down view. Really gives it like that Terraria vibe where you're like moving up and down, left and right, and side to side, stuff like that, and you're like essentially have something going around you while also shooting things out and stuff like that. It's just it looks very interesting, very neat, and like $3 is not much for what you get.
Yeah, and everything that you're seeing on screen too, like it's insane. Like when you end up finding a combo that just creates something that, I don't know, shoots out 20 lightning bolts in all crazy directions and just starts destroying everything, you feel like a god every time, and it's so fun. And the game is also very good about not just like knocking you down a peg, but setting the ladder on fire while you're on it. And I wouldn't change it for the world, man. It's such an amazing time. Andy, who just joined our chat, has also hung out with me and watched me just going crazy, screaming with anxiety playing this game. It's so ridiculously fun, man. You should really pick up Vampire Survivors.
And on Steam for $3, like the reviews are overwhelmingly positive. And you can run it on a potato. Windows 7, Intel Pentium 4,
Yes.
1 gig of RAM, 1 gig of RAM. Like you don't even need a dedicated graphics card. Like
you can play it on your laptop that you bought for college 4 years ago and have neglected to do anything with.
How much storage you need, you ask? 250 megabytes.
Yeah.
Like,
I love it.
That isn't even a gig.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was looking up because I'm curious what this is all available on. It's also available on Android.
Oh, that's new then. When I wrote my review, it was just on Steam and itch.io. I need to download this on my phone.
I'm pretty sure you could easily run this on a Raspberry Pi.
Oh yeah.
On like an emulator or something like that. I'm pretty sure you could get away with it on a Raspberry Pi.
Yeah, so it's available on Android, Mac OS, and Microsoft Windows.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
I really hope that Ponkel just keeps on trucking. There's so much of this game that I know that I haven't seen yet. Brent, my co-host from Podcast for Two People, who's also in the chat, has put a lot of time into this game as well, after having hung out and seen it quite a few times. And he just could not put it down. He ended up hanging out with me one day and was like, hey man, have you tried this combo? And then next thing I know, I'm again in God mode, but literally 10, 15 minutes before I usually am. And he has completely gotten every achievement in the game already. He was addicted. It's fantastic, man. It's so great.
Yeah, this is one of those rare moments where such a simple, like, low end is not the right word, but like such a simple, low intensity project just overtakes like the culture for a little bit. Like there was like 2 or 3 weeks,
Yes.
I think, I think we're kind of like at the tail end of it, but like for like 2 or 3 weeks, this game has like absolutely been like a part of the zeitgeist. And it's like that rare form of like simplicity, it meets opportunity and meets like luck.
I like how we go from absolutely shitting on a free-to-play game to like absolutely raving about another game. It's like night and day difference here. Like, oh boy.
Well, I mean, that also just goes to show like the gaming just has like these huge gradients, right? Like, I don't know how many people worked on Stay Out, but I feel like it was a team of people that there's definitely like evidence here of like kind of like some scummy behavior from them in terms of, you know, I wouldn't be surprised if they were, you know, infringing on copyright, maybe stealing assets, you know, stuff like that. And maybe, you know, this hastily put together thing that kind of feels more like a crash grab, while this was like just a fun little project that one dude put out that, you know, just capture the imaginations of people, right? Like there's, that's a huge gradient of quality and influence.
Absolutely, dude. And like I said, like on their Twitter page, they're just like, yeah, I'm the fellow who accidentally made Vampire Survivors. Like, I was just making a cool game that I thought looked neat and was fun, and the world couldn't get enough of it.
At this point, I have no idea what's going on. I just made a video game.
Right. It's gonna be Dr. Frankenstein. You know, like Vampire Survivor is gonna launch off into the horizon, dude. Or at least I hope so.
Yeah.
Honestly, I don't see an issue with it. Like, especially when it comes down to like the user reviews, over 42,000 reviews, all overwhelmingly positive. That's insane.
Yeah.
That doesn't happen very often. Like, usually when a game releases, especially like AAA titles, like it's either mixed or mostly or bad reviews. Like it's not overwhelmingly positive. Like it's been a minute since I've seen like an overwhelmingly positive on Steam.
Yeah, it's just wholesome, great, murdering fun.
Yeah. Anything else that we wanted to mention?
No, sir.
No?
Got it all off my chest.
Do you guys want to take a quick break? Be back in 2 minutes?
Yes,
Sounds
please.
Great.
All right.
I need to use the restroom.
Stay right there, guys. We'll be right back.
Hello, Danny is being lazy and has decided to you instead of doing it himself. He wants you to know that you can help support the show by telling your friends. Telling your friends about the show helps us grow and help more people save money while gaming. It's also free. You can tweet about us, share us on Facebook, or even send a message directly to your friends and family with a link to the show. Don't forget to like and subscribe on YouTube or leave a comment. That helps tell the algorithm that you like this kind of content and would recommend it. Thanks for watching and listening. The show will resume in just a few moments. P.S. Green Elite has bad taste in Pokemon.
All right, guys, we are back. Thank you for letting us take that break. Let's talk some Steam discount policies, because this will actually, a lot of times I think like the stories kind of like that we covered like do impact your wallet, but like to lesser degrees. I think this one really does like impact your spending much more than a lot of other stories that we've talked about. So Valve has made an announcement for its changes to its discount policies that will be taking effect on March 28th. So I'm just going to give you guys the full list of the rules that the devs and publishers have to follow now, and then we'll discuss them afterwards. So rule number 1, you can run a launch discount, but once your launch discount ends, you cannot run any other discounts for 28 days. It is not possible to discount your product for 28 days following a price increase in any currency, right? Discounts cannot be run within 28 days of your prior discount, with the exception of Steam-wide seasonal events. So if you participate in the summer, autumn, winter, or Lunar New Year sales, within 28 days, you can run a discount there, right? That's great. Discounts for seasonal sale events cannot be run within 28 days of releasing your title, within 28 days from when your launch discount ends, or within 28 days of a price increase in any currency. You may not change your price while a promotion is live now or scheduled for the future. And it is not possible to discount a product by more than 90% or less than 10%. Custom discounts cannot last longer than 2 weeks or run shorter than 1 day. So, ultimately, this means that these changes, it makes it possible for devs to offer discounts more often while also cracking down on anti-consumer behavior, specifically the policy covering how much a discount can be. Because before this change, Steam allowed people to discount at 1%, and that would get them on the featured sales page, which was essentially just a marketing boost, a visibility boost for no discount at all, essentially. Yeah. So those are the changes. Going through that list, Mendachi, I'll start with you. Do you have any thoughts, opinions on any of these here in the list?
Yeah, absolutely, man. Like for one thing, the 1% discount just to get to the front page is, I mean, it's scummy, bar none. There's a lot of people out there that have projects that they worked really hard on, that they're really proud of, and they want to get more people to look at them. But when you just discount something by 1%, end up on the front page, whatever, you know, it buries everything else. And when they're already, they have to pay out to Steam anyway per sale, they're pretty much just like they want to give you this game. They want you to try it. They want to hear what you think. They want you to have fun with it, and they want you to have a memorable time. So I don't really see anything bad going on here. And then, for someone that can't necessarily take a massive cut from their game, I think 10% is also still great. $10 game, that's $9. Fantastic. It's going to be primarily these AAA developers too that are selling their games on Steam. They're going to have discounts that are like 45%, still fucking $30, It's overall, I think that it's going to do a lot of good for smaller developers, and then also help weed out people trying to get just that front page boost that you were talking about. It's honestly disheartening, I guess, is the best way to put it, to see people were, kind of doing this and they had to create this whole new rule set just to combat that. So I don't have any negative views on this whatsoever. And 90%, obviously if you're trying to just give away your game, I'm not entirely certain how many examples I have for games that are discounted, say like 99% or whatever, buy this for a penny, and why they would do such a thing. So maybe you guys can educate me a little bit.
Yeah, so some of that for like these super duper cheap games is that they are games that are designed as asset flips, right? So they buy, like I don't know if I've ever seen them sell for like a penny, but I've seen them sell for like $1. And so these are games, what they'll do is they'll buy a bunch of Unity Store or Unreal Store assets,
Yeah.
throw something together as an executable,
Mm-hmm.
give it a name, sell it for $1 and send it out. Rinse and repeat.
So it's a scam, more or less, just like a dollar scam.
Kind of, yeah. It's the asset flipping. I haven't seen it really mentioned in a little while. I'm kind of actually curious why asset flips haven't been a big part of the discourse for a while. But yeah, like it'll be some sort of cheap. A lot of times it'll be some sort of like horror game that is derivative of like Slender Man, right?
Oh, right, yeah.
So they'll get some assets for furniture or whatever bullshit, assets for some sort of monster that'll chase you around a map, and they'll do it 3 or 4 different times and sell it for $1, and then they'll create achievements for it in Steam, because if you can sell like trading cards on Steam for pennies. Yeah, that's the whole asset flip scam. So if you make an asset flip and say sell it for $3 with the intent of exploiting somebody who and then buy a bunch of bot reviews, right? So it's a $3 game that you threw together with $50 worth of assets, and then through a couple dollars worth, maybe $50 of bot reviews. Your goal is to get people to buy that and offset your cost relatively quickly. And you can reuse those assets in another project and do the exact same thing for little to no cost.
Right.
So if you're trying to sell a $3 game and the big thing that you're running into is discovery, well, I'm just going to discount it by 1%, which 1% of $3 is, 3 cents.
Right.
So you're selling it for $2.97 instead of $3. You still retain most of the cost, the profitability of that asset flip, and I'm not an expert, by the way. This is just my understanding of how asset flips work. If someone has a better understanding of asset flips and how people actually make money off of them, by all means, let me know in the comments. That's just my understanding of it, that you just buy assets off of the Unity store, throw some shit together, and like put it out there. So yeah, that's how I would see that mostly being that policy clamping down on that kind of behavior. The only policy I really have an issue with here, and this is kind of minor, is rule number 4. Discounts for seasonal events cannot be run within 28 days of releasing your title. Within 28 days from your launch, discount ends, or within 28 days of price increase in any currency. And really, I only have an issue with discounts for seasonal sale and events cannot be run within 28 days of releasing your title. That's the only part I really have issue with, because a lot of games get released during Christmas, during holiday.
Right.
And so if you release anywhere near like Christmas, you can't discount your game outside of that. And Steam's sales are pretty concentrated within about a 6-month period when you really think about it. The autumn sale happens in November. You have the winter sale right around Christmas, and then you have the lunar sale, which just ended like 2 weeks ago, like a week ago. And so within like between November and February of the following year is when the majority of Steam sales are, and then you get one in June. So if you release during the holiday season and you partake in any of those, you can't discount outside of that you can't discount outside of that. So
It really puts a hamper on when you can then. And if you do want to have more eyes on it, obviously a cheaper price point is going to allow for that. So yeah, I could see that. That kind of, it puts, it makes some of these developers probably feel a little fettered.
I think for the most part, they'll be able to run discounts more often. But if I think releasing within the 28 days of that period of time will possibly put a damper on that. But that's the only part of these policies I really have any issue with. I think everything else is fine. You may not change your price while a promotion is live now or scheduled for the future, right? Like that's just, I think that's standard retail practice, right? Like,
right.
You can't, of course you can't like increase your price after a sale. You can't do a beat the increase sale, Green, what do you think?
I don't mind the changes. I think the biggest issue that I'm going to see arise is like, what if a game releases on all platforms on November 1st and then Black Friday rolls around? We won't see that Steam, discount for Black Friday in that rule unless they make a special occasion. I think that in itself needs a little bit of a tweak. I think the changes are decent in my opinion. I don't think it's like making a huge like negative impact in any way other than that I could tell. So yeah, change. I like that Steam is open to change.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah, and this is something that is geared more for consumers than it is for devs, which is nice. It's not. I mean, devs definitely do deserve to be treated very respectfully and well, but they also need to have. There are bad actors, especially in this industry, that retailers and retail platforms need to be able to clamp down on. And when they have a lot of bullshit going on, it's appropriate for Steam to change their policies to prevent issues like that. I don't think anyone who is a genuine I think for the majority of these rules, I think, everyone, like I said, everyone can probably see some rules that they're like, that can be a little squiggly. I don't know if I care for that as much. But I think any dev worth their salt, any dev that cares about their audience and their customers is not going to have a huge issue with these rule changes. And if they do, they better have some damn good reasons. Otherwise, I'm going to start looking at them with a pretty skeptical eye.
Yeah, man. I think you should.
So I think that's kind of it for me on this particular topic.
Yeah.
Anything else you got? Any other thoughts or opinions you guys want to get out on this one?
Not really, man.
I wonder if Epic's going to follow suit.
Ooh.
True.
It would be good to see a rolling tide. A rolling tide would be good.
Yeah. That would be... I wonder... So, is Epic as openly available to developers as Steam is? Or do they...
I would say it's... I mean, Epic owns the one engine, so...
Yeah, Unreal Engine.
Yeah, so I mean, I don't see why it would be. I'm sure it's not like as hot to put your stuff on Epic as it is Steam, but
yeah,
I don't know really how that pans out.
Yeah,
right, yeah. Oh yeah. Brent actually kind of popped that up too. The Bethesda launcher is shutting down in a couple months.
Yeah,
and going to Steam.
Good.
There was a few months right around like the beginning of the show, maybe the middle of 2018, 2019, where it felt like about every other week we were talking about a new launcher. Like Bethesda, Rockstar, Origins, Ubisoft, so I'm very glad to see that. The fewer launchers, the better. But yeah, if that's all that we had on Steam, I think we could probably go on ahead and wrap up this week's show.
Sounds good to me, boss.
Green Elite,
Yeah.
what do you got coming up on your channel?
I'm gonna be playing a lot of Destiny 2.
Yeah.
Because yeah, it's a lot of fun. So much fun. I've actually really enjoyed this. So, yeah. Mainly Destiny. I'm probably gonna try to play some Tarkov or Hunts this week as well. But you can catch all that on twitch.tv/Mr. Green Elite. Also on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, etc., etc. That's Mr. Green Elite.
Mendachi, what's coming up on your channel?
Let's see here. Friday, I'll actually be probably trying to like splice in a whole bunch of stuff, but I'm really excited to say Thursday, I'll be checking out Thread of Silence, which is a currently in the works indie game that follows someone that is living with schizophrenia. It's a first-person adventure game, and I was contacted by its developer to kind of try and test it out a little bit. So we're going to be doing that. And then I'll have another project next week, also on Thursday, with another indie game. So that's really exciting. You should come and check that out with me. And we can give some insight to the developer behind Thread of Silence. Otherwise, Saturday, I'm going to cut my 2 streams in half. Let's see here. Friday, I'm probably going to be playing some Metroid Dread. We're almost done with that. I'm going to check out some stuff from Steam Next Fest. And then Saturday is just Monster Hunter, baby. So, and that's a community day. So if there's anyone out there that is playing Monster Hunter Rise on the Switch, because we don't have crossplay yet, we don't have cross saves, me and my hunter friends have like around 200 hours apiece in our characters, so we're not going to just start fresh on the PC version. Sorry, but yeah, you can join us there and hunt with us. We would love to have you. Otherwise, plenty more hot takes, probably just a whole bunch of random stuff on my Twitter at onlymendachi, and the Twitch is /Mendachi. So come check it out if you're at all curious.
Excellent. Coming up on my channel, probably playing some Hunt Showdown because the Twitch drops are starting this week, so come on by for that. I would love to have you guys come and hang out. So yeah, probably a lot Hunt Showdown Friday and Saturday. Sunday, probably do some Master Duel. I think just chill out on a Sunday afternoon, play some Master Duel. Otherwise, you guys can find me on Twitter at Danny K, DANIECAE. You can find me on YouTube, Danny K Media. Yeah, that's really the 2 places that you probably want to find me at. If you guys, I think that's it. That's going to wrap it up. Thanks for watching and listening. Your time with us is always appreciated. Of course, we're not just interested in your guys' time. We want to hear from you as well. So drop a comment or tweet at us letting us know your thoughts on anything that we talked about this week or answering the question of the week, which, again, in anticipation for our conversation next week over Destiny 2 The Witch Queen, what's your preferred Destiny 2 class? Let us know. We would love to hear you guys talk about that with us. And don't forget, Destiny 2 next week is what we're going to be talking about. So if you have any clips or any experiences you want to share from this expansion, go on ahead and reach out to us on Twitter and Facebook. Green Elite, what is the Twitter and Facebook again?
At Next to Nothing PC on Twitter, and then also Next to Nothing the podcast on Facebook.
Yes, excellent. If you guys missed any part of the show, you can take us on the go and find us on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and everywhere podcasts are found. If you guys want to catch us live, you can find us live on Twitch every Tuesday at 7 p.m. Central Time. That's twitch.tv/DannyK. If you guys like what we do, drop a like or subscribe and ring that bell. It helps us out a ton. It really does. And if you guys get 50 views on this week's YouTube video before the next episode of the show, we'll be giving away a game. So if you guys really want to help us take it to that next level, go on ahead and share us with your friends. That is really the number one way to help us out. And yeah, until next week, guys, stay safe, stay healthy, keep fighting the good fights, and we'll talk to you guys again next week. Goodbye.
Stay rad.
I love you.